The twin sons of Kethera IV cast crimson shadows across the wasteland as Lyra stumbled through the dust. Her survival pod had crashed 3 days ago, scattering supplies across kilometers of hostile terrain. The distress beacon was broken. Her water reserves were gone, and in her trembling hand, she clutched the last nutrition bar, a compressed rectangle of synthetic protein that represented her final chance at survival until rescue arrived. If rescue arrived, she collapsed against a jagged rock formation, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The planet's atmosphere was breathable but thin, and every movement felt like pushing through water. Her emergency suit hung in tatters, exposing burned skin to the harsh alien wind. Lyra tore open the wrapper with her teeth, ready to devour the bar in desperate gulps. That's when she heard it, a whimper. Soft and pitiful, barely audible over the howling wind. Lyra froze. Her training as a xenobiologist kicked in despite her exhaustion. She knew that sound distress from something young, something vulnerable. Slowly, she turned her head toward a cluster of rocks to her left. 2 amber eyes stared back at her from the shadows. The creature emerged hesitantly, a quadrupedal being no larger than a terrier, covered in silver-blue fur that rippled like liquid metal. Its oversized ears were pinned back against its skull, and its tail, thick and muscular, curled protectively around its emaciated body. Lyra recognized the species immediately from her xenological databases, a Cathari alpha cub, one of the apex predators of this world. But this one was dying. The cub's ribs showed starkly beneath its pelt. Its movements were weak, uncoordinated. Fresh scars crisscrossed its hide, evidence of rejection by its pack. In Cathari society, the weak were abandoned. Resources on this desert planet were too scarce for mercy. Lyra looked at the nutrition bar in her hand, then back at the cub. Every rational part of her mind screamed at her to eat. She was human. She mattered. Her life had value to the colony, to Earth, to the mission. This was just an animal, an alien animal that would grow into a creature capable of tearing her apart. The cub whimpered again. Those amber eyes locked on hers with an intelligence that transcended species. "Damn it," Lyra whispered. She broke the nutrition bar in half. The smaller piece she kept for herself. The larger portion she extended toward the cub, her hand shaking not from fear, but from the enormous weight of what she was doing. The cub's nostrils flared. It approached with agonizing slowness, each step a monumental effort. When it reached her, it didn't snatch the food. Instead, it gently took the offering from her palm, its rough tongue brushing against her fingers in what could only be described as gratitude. They ate together in silence, human and alien, 2 castaways sharing a meal under crimson suns. Lyra didn't remember falling asleep, but she woke to warmth pressed against her side. The cub Neri, she decided to call it, after an old Earth word for light, had curled against her, sharing body heat through the freezing desert night. Against all odds, they had both survived. Days blurred together. Lyra's half of the nutrition bar hadn't been enough, and she grew weaker. But Neri remained, hunting small desert creatures and dragging them back to share. The cub seemed to understand that Lyra couldn't digest raw Cathari fauna, so it would eat first, then stay close, providing warmth and companionship. On the 7th day, Lyra heard the distant rumble that she'd almost given up hoping for engines. A rescue shuttle descended from the ash-gray sky, its scanners having finally located her beacon's faint signal. As the medical team rushed toward her, Neri growled a surprisingly deep sound from such a small creature. The cub positioned itself between Lyra and the approaching strangers. Hackles raised despite its size. "It's okay," Lyra murmured, placing her hand on Neri's head. "They're here to help." But before she could be loaded onto the shuttle, the desert itself seemed to come alive. From behind every rock, from every crevice and cave, Cathari alphas emerged. Not cubs, but full-grown predators. Massive beings with fangs like daggers and claws that could shred hull plating. Dozens of them. Then hundreds, surrounding the landing site, in a perfect circle. The rescue team drew their weapons. The shuttle's defensive systems powered up. Lyra tried to stand, to position herself between the two sides, but her legs wouldn't support her weight. Then, the largest Alpha, a scarred behemoth with one milky eye and fur that shimmered like starlight, approached. It moved with lethal grace, stopping directly in front of Neri. The massive predator lowered its head, touching its forehead to the cubs in a gesture Lyra's xenological training recognized immediately. Recognition, acceptance, family. The Alpha's gaze shifted to Lyra. In those ancient eyes, she saw something that transcended language: respect, understanding, and an emotion she never expected to find in an alien species: honor. The creature turned to its clan and released a sound that shook the very ground, a harmonic call that rippled through the assembled Alphas like a wave. As one, hundreds of predators lowered themselves to the dust, their foreheads touching the ground in a gesture of submission, but not to each other. To her, Lyra's translator crackled to life. Having finally accumulated enough linguistic data to process the Cathari language, the Alpha's voice emerged, deep and resonant. The human shared her last breath with our weakest cub. She chose compassion when survival demanded cruelty. By the old ways, by blood and bone, and the light of our sons, we declare the eternal debt. From this day, until the stars grow cold, the Cathari clan swears loyalty to Lyra of Earth. Her enemies are our enemies. Her children are our children. Her name will be sung when we teach our cubs what it means to be truly strong. Tears streamed down Lyra's face as the medical team stood frozen in shock. Neri pressed closer against her leg, purring with a sound like distant thunder. She had given half a nutrition bar to a dying alien cub. In return, she had gained the loyalty of an entire species, warriors who would remember this moment for generations to come. As the shuttle lifted off with Lyra and Neri aboard the cub, refusing to leave her side, she watched the assembled Alphas below. They remained prostrate until the ship disappeared into the atmosphere, a living testament to a simple truth that humanity had always known, but often forgot. Kindness, even in the smallest measure, has the power to change worlds.